BarCampHouston3 TV.com.
The fact is that Houston's turning a leaf. It's turning a new leaf. We're really getting into technology from the earlier stages, from the consumer part of things where we normally haven't. We've always been very much an enterprise town. We've always been an energy town where all of our technology has been focused strictly on taking stuff out of the ground. And that's changing quite a bit because I think the world is changing. We're getting into a lot of different aspects of different technologies. We're getting, like I said, a lot of earlier stage consumer-facing stuff, normally known as Web 2.0 in the world today. Very, very exciting, young, fresh ideas that are happening and that are really being launched right here in Houston, which hasn't been the case in the past.
What do you think has finally turned the tide? Because I know in previous bar camps we've talked about how Houston it was strictly just the oil town and there really weren't a lot of startups. What's changing?
I think the people have really gotten out of their shells and said, you know what, I want to start a company. And the fact is we've got three things that are going on in the city of Houston and really the world in general. A, the tools have been much, much, much cheaper to start a company. You can no longer, it doesn't take you $500,000 to start a company anymore. You can do it for less than probably $10,000, $15,000. You can do it in your garage without any problem anymore. So the tools are cheaper. The society has understood technology a lot better. We have a digital literacy that people understand how to use computers. They need computers for other reasons. We have 70% broadband penetration in the United States, which means that people are starting to get it. And the third thing and the most important thing is that entrepreneurialism as a identifiable gene is really starting to flourish. So at the end of the day, what we're really talking about is that we've got a perfect storm of conditions that help companies both in the world in general and Houston specifically grow.
What kind of advice would you have for someone watching this thinking about starting a startup company? Because I'm sure you've seen the good, the bad so far in your time working on this. Yeah.
Well, the advice is really the easiest one in the world to understand because everybody's known it from Nike. Just do it. Nobody in the entire world has ever put a gun to somebody else's head and said you have to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is in your DNA, it's in your blood. If there's a fire in your belly and you know that there's a way to build a better mousetrap, do it. Do it today, don't wait another moment, and you can get the help you need to make that company grow. You can get the help you need to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Business validation, basically having somebody say, you know what, this is a good idea and I think other people will pay for it. That is the one thing that most people really don't have when they start a company, and that's the biggest fear point. The minute you overcome that fear and actually decide that other people will pay for your idea, that's when you actually know you're a successful entrepreneur. So once again, my advice is pull the trigger and get it done.
Has the perceived economic slump hurt the startup world any at this point in Houston or anywhere in Texas?
Actually, it's quite the opposite. In a downturn, you see more entrepreneurism. And it's a counterintuitive thing, but if you think about it, if there's a downturn in the economy, whether it's a slowdown, recession, depression, let's face it, that could happen. You actually see more people doing more things on their own because frankly they are afraid that their existing companies, usually larger corporations or bigger firms, can't afford their services. So they understand what gaps are in the market and they understand their existing companies can't fill them. So we actually see in a downturn much more entrepreneurism. Matter of fact, we saw that in Houston in the early 80s when oil went down, we actually saw entrepreneurism go way up. So it means that basically it's a counter-cyclical thing. Right now, and this should tell you something about the economy, I'm not seeing a lot more entrepreneurs, I'm just seeing better entrepreneurs, which means the economy itself is doing just fine, at least here in Houston right now.
What's next for Houston? What do you see happening in the next 5 years tech-wise?
Tech-wise is exactly what we're going to do today. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing right now, which is getting better at taking things out of the ground and turning them into energy. We're getting better at taking things out of the sky and turning them into energy. That's both wind and solar. That's biotechnology, taking algae, taking biofuels, all that. Energy is Houston and Houston is energy, so we've got to focus on that. However, on the tech side, the stuff that I'm interested in, the stuff that HTC is interested in, we're seeing web services. Anything that's going to make your life easier that has to do with internet is something that we're very focused on, and we can certainly help you grow that company.
Anything else you want to add you think is important?
No, the only thing I'd like to add is this. We're doing the right thing. It's just a matter of getting more of it out there. We're a city that is very large square footage wise, 600 square miles of city. We are roughly 5 million people in the greater Houston area, and the fact of the matter is that we are a tech community. We're just not very concentrated. So we're widely dispersed, but that's why we have events like BarCamp and places like the HTC to help condition technology companies to understand that Houston itself is a technology town, and we're going to continue to do that until the end of time.
MikeMcGuff.com